Hey, so drama. Who thinks Facebook has drama? Jason. Okay, Facebook. I think some people on Facebook have drama. I was listening to the radio the other day, and they're changing Facebook up. They're going to be putting new buttons on Facebook. You know how they have the like button and all that? Well, they're going to be adding new buttons. So they're doing a survey on people and what buttons they would like. So this woman calls into the radio station. She's like, "Oh, they should put a drama button because if there's a drama button, I press that for almost everything I read." Right? And I'm like, And at first I thought, well, that's a good button to put, right? But then I told my sister about it, and my sister said, no, that would just cause drama. Someone would be putting drama on something. Someone else will get back and say, why are you saying I'm causing drama? Right? So anyway, drama gets blown out of control, okay? I believe that when drama is in our life, we are attracting it ourselves, right? We always attract what is happening in our lives. We attract it through our thoughts, which we learned in other classes, our responses to other people, and our reactions, which is a response as well. But how we handle things, right? All the time, all the time. I had a woman call me the other day, and she was like, Cerise, I'm attracting drama everywhere I go. So she got this new job. And in this new job, right away, she gets into something with some girls at the job. They start talking about her business and everything. Why are they talking about her business? Because she opened her mouth and told them her business. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to talk. She created that open minefield for herself. Don't talk business. I always tell my clients and all my friends and my family members and everything, do not talk your business and nobody will be able to start drama with your business, right? Don't trust a soul. It's bad to say that sometimes for some people, but you can't trust people really. One person that you know has a good heart and everything like that, yes. You know who I trust? My daughter, 23-year-old, and my son, almost 18. That's who I trust. Aside from that, most people, and I trusted them ever since they were young. Right? I would just talk to them and tell them what I'm going through. And that is, I think people who grow with you and they understand you and they see your growth after that. So you're not really telling them what is happening in your life at that moment. You're just basically explaining to them what you're going through. Right? So be careful who you tell your business to. And if you can hold it to yourself, don't tell anyone. Right? Like Zeta, you're very young. Right? When you go through something, sometimes it's hard to hold it in, right? You can tell your dad. Your dad's not gonna, she looks right at her dad like, tell him? I don't think so. But you can tell him because you know why? His first instinct is to help you. Number one, right? So parents that care. I always help you, so don't look at me like that. Right? So the first instinct for most parents is to help. Right? And if you feel uncomfortable about a certain situation, you don't want to tell your parents because you're afraid the way they might react, don't go tell any friends that you know are talking about someone else. That goes for all of us. If we know we have a friend that is always chatting someone else's business, do not tell them anything, right? No matter how much of a close friend you are, because one day they will become your enemy. Most times they do. Really, I don't want to come off negative or anything, but most times they really do. So anyway, this girl, she comes to me and she's like, oh my gosh, these new people at work, and oh my gosh, this person and that person, all her family members and everyone around her is just, talking about her. And you know what she said? And my whole family's talking about me, and you know what? I forgive them, but I never forget what they do, right? And then I don't know where she got this from, but she said somewhere in the Bible it says, forget, but you don't have to forgive. And she said, that's in the Bible. I said, where in the Bible did you see that? Because I always read, you must forgive and forget, right? You don't hold resentment. When you hold resentment, you continue to bring those people into your life. Okay, sorry guys. You continue to bring that drama into your life. Now, not only drama, but toxic relationships. And toxic relationships don't only come from drama, right? It can come from who we are. There's this one person that I know, a very boring person, very boring, has absolutely nothing to offer anyone in conversation. but knows almost everything, read many books, really well read, but doesn't offer anything in conversation, right? So there's a gentleman that was interested in her, asked me to hook them up and everything, and I said, sure, I'll hook you guys up, right? They went out on a date together. He lost complete interest in her. He thought she looked good on the outside and everything, but she had nothing to offer at the table. At the dinner table, I'm like, why? Like, I asked him, like, what? When her and I get chit-chat, and she has all kinds of things to say. And he said, I don't know. She was just like a deer stuck in headlights, nothing to say. So it's really important, and then she put the toxic into the relationship because she wasn't herself. But he felt like she had nothing to offer, and she didn't open up her mouth, and she was shy to say certain things because she didn't want him to judge her. It's better to be judged being yourself than to be judged not being yourself. And that's how we enter things into relationships as well that are not good, when we are not ourselves. Okay? Really, really important to always be yourself. And, you know, drama is actually not an enemy that goes around causing problems for, like, the unsuspected person. Like, how do you guys react when someone cuts you off in traffic? Okay, Zaya telling all your business. Okay, obviously, when we get cut off in traffic, our first instinct is to be like, yo, what's wrong with you? What are you doing, right? And right away we get upset, we get angry. Number one, because it's like this person is putting our life in danger, right? And it's that moment of defense mechanism, right? It's very important from here on in to, when that happens, anyone cuts you off or does anything, just calm down at that moment and pray for the person, because most likely they cut you off. That's your moment to pray for them, because they're going to cut someone else off and someone else off, and something's going to happen to them. So, where were we? Yes, arguing with our kids, fighting with our kids, yelling at our kids, yelling at people in traffic, being rude with co-workers, all this stuff builds up a negative force field around us, and then drama starts to happen. Okay, I did a video the other day of a gentleman. I was in Loblaws, and I was coming out of Loblaws, and the doors were a little heavy. And I noticed it was heavy, and in my head, I'm like, well, this door is kind of heavy, right? And then the man right beside me at the next door noticed it too, but he starts cussing, and he starts saying, oh, this door is heavy. And I'm like, I just looked at him, and he's like, what, don't you think the door is heavy? And I was like, yeah, actually I do. And I was just thinking in my head, maybe they should have an automatic door opener. And he was like, yeah, that's smart. I don't know why they aren't that smart. And he starts saying all this stuff. He turns around, boom, falls on the ground right there in front of me. I don't even know how he fell, right? And I just looked at him and I was like, my gosh, are you okay? And I went to help him up. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm suing the city. Right? So it went from the grocery store to the doors to the city, right? And I'm like, what are you suing the city for? Right? And he's like, well, you're my witness, right? The last thing I want to be is a witness to somebody, something like this, right? It's not going to take a minute time out of my life. And so I looked at him, I'm like, oh, are you injured? He said, well, no. And I said, what am I witness to, that you're not injured? And he's like, well, you saw me fall over the concrete. It's up, and I said, I didn't see you trip over the concrete. I saw you just drop. And I see you're not injured. What kind of witness would I be? And then he looked at me like, like, breathing, you're an alien, where did you come from, right? And he's looking at me like, why can't you get negative with me? But after I walked away, I noticed that he's talking to another person, and this other person's just looking at him like he's an alien, right? Because they're like, why are you talking to me about this? I don't even know you, I didn't witness what you just went through. I'm not interested in hearing what you're saying, right? But he needed someone, and that's where we say misery loves company, right? He's just a miserable, negative man, and I could only imagine all the drama in his life. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any baby mama drama, right? Because he was like, 60-something. But he has his own little drama, right? And it must be out of control. Probably people that live in his building or whatever. And people grow sick of people like that. People always finding a complaint, right? The less we complain, the better it is. No matter what, if there is a complaint, we have to put it to the side. I didn't even notice how much I complained after I got hit by the car and my arm was hurting and everything, until my son went. And I said, why are you doing that? Right? I picked up on it right away. I said, why are you doing that? He said, well, Mom, I love you and everything, and I know you almost died, but you're alive. And I was like, but like, I'm in pain. And he's like, but you're alive. And he's like, I don't want to say anything. And I was like, well, you know, that's true, right? So this is, people get sick and tired of hearing about it. And the poor little guy, he was the only one around me at the time, and he had to put me in my place, right? So people do get sick and tired of hearing people complain all the time. So, now, negativity is in all of our lives. Drama affects us all somehow, some way, right? But there's a way of getting rid of it. If you guys notice any drama in your life, coming up on Facebook or coming up around work or anything of that nature, I'm looking at all you guys now and I'm not reading a lot of negativity or a lot of drama too much at all, right? Drama! I'm joking. Kind of half joking. I'm just gonna point fingers now. No, I'm joking, okay. Okay, so it takes 5 weeks to get rid of drama. Yes, 5 weeks. It takes, has anyone ever heard of 3-week habits? Mm-hmm. It takes 3 weeks for a habit to take effect, yeah? Okay, so 21 days, 28 days kind of thing. A habit so if someone was smoking cigarettes and didn't even like the taste, and they just happen to smoke it every day for 21 days, they're gonna become addicted. And not because they like the taste or the smell of the cigarette, but because it becomes habitual. They actually program the neuroplasticity in their brain to start wanting it. My sister is a cigarette smoker. Any cigarette smokers in here? Yeah. Jen, you smoke cigarettes?
No, not anymore.
Oh, you quit?
Mm-hmm.
When did you quit?
Maybe March.
Really? That's fantastic. You smoke cigarettes? Good for you. Okay, any cigarette smokers in here? Wow. Make sure I got that on camera. Yes. Yes. Cigarette smokers. Okay, good for you guys. Wow, I don't smoke cigarettes either. And my sister, sorry, Darla. She's gonna be watching this video. She'll be like, Cerise, why'd you call me out like that? But it'll help her quit, right? But she smokes, and every time she smokes a cigarette, she says to me, you know, I hate this stuff. I hate it. She says, nothing more I don't like than cigarettes. And it's not because she likes them. And a lot of habits that start aren't because we actually like them, right? It's because we can't move away from them because we programmed our mind, the neuroplasticity in our mind. We programmed our thinking to think that we want that. It also takes time to get off of it. So even though we quit, you guys ever hear that 3-day make it or break it mark? No matter what we're trying to quit the habit, okay? On the 3rd day is when we become the weakest. After the 3rd day, if we can stick with it for 5 weeks, it'll be tough. And that's how long it takes to reprogram the mind. So it takes 3 weeks to become a habit, but 5 weeks to actually draw away from it. Okay, I used to like to drink a glass of red wine with my dinner and stuff like that. It became a habit, right? Because I would like to have my glass of red wine. I said, forget this. I'm not going to drink anymore at all because I heard that it starts to wrinkle the skin. And I'm 40 now, and there's nothing that I want. I don't want to wrinkle up or anything, right? I want to age gracefully, right? So I was like, forget it, I'm not going to drink this alcohol. Do you know, the first day, I felt like I wanted it. Second day, I felt like I wanted it. That's when I realized it became a habit. After the first week, I said to myself, well, let me go get a bottle of wine. It's been a week. I'll go get a small bottle of wine, have a glass of red wine with my dinner. No, after that I was like, if I do that, then I'm going to have a glass every single night again. It's ridiculousness, right? I started to dream about having a glass of red wine. That's how much it gets into the neuroplasticity of the mind. We start to dream about certain things when we use it so much. Even ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, stuff of that nature. We want something so bad and we're, I would say, addicted to it. Right? We will start to dream about it even. So 5 weeks, guys. That's how long it takes. The first week, it's really important to hold your temper and hold your tongue. This is regarding drama. Okay, so someone upsets you, you get really upset, hold your temper, hold your tongue, do not say a thing. Someone cuts you off in traffic, do not say a word. Hold your temper, and if you feel your temper burn like you want it, in the moment is when you have to be mindful, right? You can't just be like, oh, what's this person doing? And then say, oh, I have to remember, I gotta be mindful, right? While you're in the moment, you have to be like, oh, be disciplined enough to prevent yourself from getting upset. Right? And that's when things start to change everywhere in your life, right? Because even just a one overreaction causes drama. Okay? Hold your tongue. Someone upsets you, yes?
What do you do if you, I don't know, if you seem like you're the kind of person that has to say something just to blurt it out?
Like, oh!
No, like even for me, I would say, for instance, it's just an example. If I don't pray with my grandmother every morning, it doesn't feel the same when I pray on my own. Because I think I need that interaction. So what if you feel you need that interaction?
This is in terms of drama.
Yeah, in terms of drama, like you feel you have to say something, like, or you're just one of those people that have to get that out and say that.
Yes, I understand. Okay, so you're saying the neuroplasticity in your mind, you're used to actually saying it.
Yeah.
Okay, mindfulness. In the moment, you have to say that. That's why it takes 5 weeks. And trust me, it'll happen every day. Something will happen every day. Once we start becoming mindful, we will start to see how often things will happen. Just today, I had this buggy here on the bus, and I had my coffee and everything, and this fell. Right? And I was like, right away I went, ah. And then I said to myself, oh, I shouldn't have said, ah, right? I should have just went, oh, that's okay, you know, because someone was picking it up for me anyway, right? But I was like, oh, but I didn't do a big, ah, right? And I didn't like go, oh my gosh, that stupid bag, and I didn't do all that, right? But I'm mindful now of the moment, right? So I was able to pull it back real fast, right? I only did it, right? So the better we get at it, the more mindful we become, we pull it back real fast. Obviously, if someone cuts you off in traffic, no matter how mindful you are at the moment, you're always gonna be like, it will jar you for a second, right? But what I'm saying is, don't be like, yo, you know, what are you doing? Start honking your horn and sticking your finger out the car, right? So the first week, all you have to do in the first week is hold your tongue and hold your temper. That's all, right? There's not much really after that. Even if you do this, right? You're in the car or whatever, even if you do that, it's still okay. Just remember you're holding your temper and holding your tongue, and you're not speaking out loud. Someone comes up to you and says something to you that is disrespectful or whatever, don't say anything back. Don't say a word back, because then you stir up strife, and then everything becomes unpredictable and drama will begin, right? So just hold your tongue. It's really important to do that. Second week, manage your emotions. That's when it starts to become hard, okay? And take control of the moment, right? So let's say someone comes up to you, and this is all based upon drama and dealing with other people, right? So let's say someone comes up to you and they say something to you that is completely off the wall, or someone bugs in front of you. Like the other day, I was at a grocery store, and I had my stuff, and I was sliding everything across as we were going along in the lineup, and I guess my stuff wasn't slid across in front of me good enough. So a man behind me went like this and slid my stuff over beside me, right? And in my head, I'm like, who does he think he is? And I want to turn around and brawl, right? But then I went, thank you. And I turned around, I held my tongue, because I know I could have gave him a tongue lashing. I would have had him all sliced up. He was, I could have said all kinds of things to him, but I didn't. And I held my tongue, and I said, thank you. By the time we got out that store, do you know him and I were chit-chatting? And I was so happy that I didn't say anything to him. But there was a time where I did say something. I was in the butcher store, and I got in there, and there was a man in there before me. I knew he was in there before me, but I thought he was already being served. And the butcher store man said, hi, can I help you? And he asked me before he asked the other guy, right? And I said, sure. And I was getting some stuff for my son, right? And so I gave my order, and that was it. And I'm standing there, and the man came up to me, and he said, and check this out, okay? He came up to me, he said, the next time you butt in front of me, I'm gonna punch you in your mouth. Like that. And I'm like, I said, what did you just say? I said, I will knock you down. No, I'm not gonna knock anyone down. I have absolutely hardly any use of this arm, right? I mean, I got a nice right hook, right? But I'm not gonna hit anyone, right? I said, I will knock you down. And he looked at me and he went, and he turned his head. Now there are, and then after that, right, he just kind of went, he's a bully, that's what he was, and he kind of went about himself, and then he was like, yeah, well, you shouldn't have butted in front of me, and he walked away and he kept running his mouth off, right? So I ran my mouth off, and I said, I didn't mean to butt in front of you, okay? The man asked me if I wanted to be served. I didn't know if you weren't served, and I tried to explain to him and reason with him, and the butcher man came over to him and said, shut your mouth, or get out, right? And he told the man to shut up. Right? Now, there are times when you do have to speak up, right? If your life is being threatened and stuff of that nature. But when I left the store that day, I was shaking, right? I was like, ooh, my heart was beating fast, and I was like, what did I just go through? Why did I just have to stick up for myself like that? And I asked God, and I'm like, God, was I in the wrong? Should I have just shut my mouth and just looked at the man and ignored him? Or was I better to threaten the man back, right? And I was very confused. And my conscience, I had to open up the Bible and read a passage when I got home and everything. But you know what my consciousness said to me? God came back, God said, no. There are some situations where you have to speak up for yourself. And you have to make sure that you tell that other person what, because you're saving that man's life. The next woman he does that to isn't even gonna say anything. She's just gonna thump him, right? And he's gonna knock down and he might bang his head on something, right? But there are some situations where you do have to say something, but I'm just saying in general, manage your emotions, be in control of the moment at all times. How are you in control of the moment? Be aware, be mindful. Oh, and that's another thing. When I threatened him, there was pure men in the butcher shop, so I knew he wasn't going to get anywhere. He, nailed me, right? And I was ready to duck him, right? And everything. So I was mindful of what put it this way, if we were somewhere in an alley, I probably would have ran, right? But I knew I had protection, right? So you also want to be mindful of your environment and everything else that's going on around you. Be aware. Third, use empathy towards a person and take leadership by behaving mature. Okay, so that man who was in the lineup with me, right, and pushed my stuff in front of me, I took leadership of that position by saying thank you, and I behaved mature, right? He didn't threaten me. He didn't say anything to me. He just put his stuff on he put his hands on my stuff and moved my stuff. He was very rude. Extremely rude, but he didn't threaten me, or I didn't feel like I was in danger. So therefore I didn't have to defend myself, right? I took leadership of the situation and said to him, thank you very much. So that's the third week. Now remember, 21 days. After the third week, things start to become smooth sailing, and you will notice less negative things happening in your life according to your responses in the first 3 weeks. When you respond differently to situations, then all of a sudden you'll start noticing in the 4th week, less negative things start happening and more positive things start happening, right? Like people will start they'll give things to you. People will want to do things for you. People will start treating you like royalty. I'm pretty sure you guys all get treated very well anyway, right? But and I don't like to use the word boss, right? But supervisors and managers at work and everything, all of a sudden will start to see the best in you and start doing more kind things for you and stuff of that nature. Co-workers, neighbors, you'll start noticing it. Things influence us differently, but you will start to notice even people walking down the street, just looking at you and smiling and seeing that your aura is shining. You guys will also start noticing other people's auras. Once negativity stops happening in your life, or certain other things stop blocking you, you will start noticing other people's auras, noticing the energy around people. And that's why it's important to remove the negative, right, out of your life, because all of a sudden you start focusing and so much beauty starts to come in. You can see pure positive. And it's all because of being mindful of emotions, mindful of how you handle situations, mindful of certain things that people say to you and you don't say back and all that stuff. Okay? And that's in the 3rd week to 4th week. Okay, the 4th week for sure, you'll notice it. The 4th week and the 5th week, you will start noticing that your principles in your life that you live by will start changing, right? So definitely you will start feeling like things that you normally did before, whether it's eating certain foods you don't like, you know, staying up late at night, like your principles start changing. Very simplistic principles, but also other people won't make personal attacks, and you will also draw a lot of boundaries around yourself where other people won't be quick to throw their drama onto you.